However, if infected, non-specific symptoms may include a decreased appetite, nausea, vague abdominal discomfort, jaundice or yellow eyes, and abnormal liver function tests. If not treated, hepatitis of any type can lead to cirrhosis and liver cancer, which leads to over 1 million deaths worldwide. If you suspect you may have been exposed to the virus that causes hepatitis, talk to your doctor today and get tested.
This public service announcement is brought to you by the Public Hospitals Authority in conjunction with the Medical Association of the Bahamas and the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Dr. Gale, and I'm inviting you to be a part of a journey where we open the Word of God to receive strength, to receive empowerment from the Scriptures as they have been written. Get your Bibles, get your cup of coffee or your tea, because this journey is gonna be great. This is your day of victory.
Number one team in the North. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better.
And that concludes the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. I'm Raven Davis.
I'm Shane Stubbs.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Here's a live look at the Bahamas Tonight. They're coming.
Coming up in the Bahamas Tonight at 11, the nation's chief responding to the opposition's election readiness claims. The F&M leader clarifies speculations on the party's Michael candidate's ratification. And the first solemn day of Lent begins. The Bahamas Tonight at 11 starts now.
Everyone, I'm LaDawn Davis filling in for Corvell Pyfrom. Welcome to the broadcast. Key partners meeting on critical issues facing the country. Officials of the National Development Vision Plan 2040 updated political leaders today on the Bahamas' future. Lloyd Allen leads us off tonight at 11 with the details.
A special parliamentary session held at Margaritaville on Wednesday focused on the National Development Plan. Now included in a draft more than 600 pages of improvements across the next 14 years. NDP Chairman Felix Stubbs says that as there are a number of short-term, medium, and long-term initiatives, the hope is to execute by 2040.
We have reached out to all the political parties and those who are officially in Parliament and those outside of Parliament as well, to ensure that their voices are heard. I have given them my personal assurance, and they've given me their personal assurances that they're fully committed.
Now, also a part of that session, opposition leader Michael Pentard, who indicated that the proposal and passing of the Freedom of Information Act is a critical component to bringing the NDP to life.
The ability of the Freedom of Information to impact this program is very strong, which is why it is important for it to be implemented. Because if you're talking about transparency in governance, it is important to have access to information. So the Institute, in my view, would not be in a position to fully execute its job if the various stakeholders who require information to make their day-to-day decision or long-term planning do not have access.
Now, as funding will prove a critical component to bringing this project to life, IDB Representative Shirley Gale says beyond funding, the IDB hopes to play a more pivotal role.
We also bring technical expertise, whether that expertise resides within the IDB itself, because we are a very large knowledge institution, and that could mean research, that could mean advisory, that could mean learnings and lessons from other countries and other jurisdictions that have gone through this before.
Now, from that big question on the cost, the IDB was unable to peg an exact figure. However, according to Chairman Stubbs, the goal is to have the legislation passed by the end of March. Reporting from Margaritaville for the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Lloyd Allen.
Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis describing election readiness concerns raised by Free National Movement Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands as nothing but hot air. In a release this week, the F&M chairman stated that the party wrote the Parliamentary Registration Department outlining these discrepancies, which are not minor clerical errors, but significant flaws requiring urgent correction, including polling divisions with no voters assigned, what appear to be residual or improperly transferred records, the constituency unit transfer electoral process, and first-time voters were improperly turned away despite presenting valid Bahamian passports. Now, in an interview with reporters yesterday, Prime Minister Davis underscored his confidence in the parliamentary system and legislative structure of the country's electoral process.
Very often, all the burden is put on the parliamentary office. It is for all of us who are participatory members of this democracy to keep an eye on the register we have it to ensure its integrity.
Now that the Lenten season has begun, here's a question for the country's political parties: to campaign or not to campaign? Cleopatra Murphy pitched that question to political leaders.
The Free National Movement has no plans to slow down its campaign machinery this Lenten season. Party leader Michael Pintard says it intends to roll out its manifesto and full slate of candidates in a matter of weeks.
We have consulted at the highest level with a number of those religious denominations where this is of particular concern, and we're going to be respectful of the period in terms of how we orchestrate our various political activities.
This is as it becomes more evident the general election is nearing, with the Progressive Liberal Party holding its official launch Monday. And despite Prime Minister the Honorable Philip Davis saying that his party will hold no political public activities during Lent, which began Wednesday, but will have private meetings. Pintard says the party will not disrespect the religious observance, but is excited to tout its platform.
Addressing the affordability issue, housing, ability to pay light, to address the issue of food and other necessities that families have, to also look at the issue of immigration, and of course to look at the issue of crime and what our specific plans are to address those two critical issues. And then the big issue really is healthcare, not just dealing with the issue of the infrastructure of the hospital, the scarcity of staff, equipment, medicine, but also dealing with the issue of mental health.
ZNS News also put the question to Coalition of Independence leader Lincoln Bain.
So we're not going to have any rallies or public events during this time. We will have internal events, internal party events, and we'll continue with our weekly show, live show. But in terms of campaigning, in terms of large rallies or parties, etc., we won't be having that.
For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.
In news from Parliament, a number of bills tabled and read for a first time during a brief sitting at the House of Assembly Wednesday. A copy of the Criminal Evidence Witness Order 2026 and the Price Control General Amendment Regulations, among other documents, were laid. During this morning's short proceedings, Member of Parliament for Fox Hill and Foreign Affairs Minister, the Honorable Fred Mitchell, informed the House that the Chairman of the Caribbean Community and Common Market, or CARICOM, is here in the capital for a high-level meeting.
Prime Minister Terence Drew of St. Christopher and Nevis, sometimes called St. Kitts and Nevis, will pay an official one-day visit as chair of CARICOM today in advance of the heads of government meeting in St. Kitts on the 24th to the 26th of February, 2026. He will leave the Bahamas tomorrow after consultations with Prime Minister Philip Davis.
Come the Lenten season officially underway. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight at 11.
There are some things that are undeniably Bahamian. A good count salad, junkanoo, the way we worship, the way we take care of one another, all undeniably Bahamian. And right in the midst of our iconic things, places, and people is Commonwealth Bank. Increasing access, sponsoring dreams, working alongside Bahamians to increase the quality of their lives for more than 60 years. Commonwealth Bank, nothing more than being Bahamian. Commonwealth Bank, leader in personal banking services.
Wait, what are you grabbing all these pizzas, boy?
Wait, Marcos, wait. We have a special on all the large one-topping pizzas, wait.
Pineapple.
All.
Barbecue.
All. Hey, VAT included, boy.
I need the $10 special plate. How many would you like? 20 in it. Thank you so much, man. $10, that's it? The Marcos got that deal, boy.
Riding a motorcycle requires a heightened sense of awareness, strength, and better coordination than driving a car. It also involves increased risks and more maneuvering skills. Motorcycles are not as easily seen as a car or trucks. Other motorists, particularly those who don't ride a motorcycle, may not be looking for motorcycles in traffic. This places the motorcyclist at risk, particularly at intersections. Here are a few tips supplied by the Royal Bahamas Police Force to ensure a safer ride. Always ensure that all persons are equipped with fitting helmets and other motorcycle safety gear like effective eyewear. Ensure that the motorcycle is licensed and insured and both license plates are properly secure on both front and back. Do not pop motorcycles, especially when on a busy road or intersection. It impairs your line of sight and your ability to swerve will be delayed. Be alert when riding and be mindful of road conditions, especially when overtaking. Always inspect your motorcycle before every ride to ensure your vehicle is fully operational, especially tires and braking systems. Be sure to be well informed about bike hand signals and other safety procedures. Along with this freedom comes responsibility, but all the risks involved can be managed through training and education. Let us drive safe and share the road. I am Corporal 3599 Camille Johnson, reminding you that safety is everyone's responsibility.
The proliferation of shanty towns has posed a challenge to the country for decades, and after the Davis administration started demolitions in late 2024 to get a handle on what has been an ever-growing problem, the Minister of Work says the plan is not to stop now. Cleopatra Murphy has that story.
Minister of Works and Family Island Affairs, the Honorable Clay Sweeting, is making it clear the Unregulated Communities Action Task Force will not be letting up when it comes to eradicating shanty towns after several buildings were torn down off Allen Close Monday.
Persons continue to build and will continue to do what we can to monitor and to demolish and to warn those that feel it's okay to build without permits on land that doesn't belong to them, without the proper protocols, that the task force is moving through the country and will continue to demolish areas that seem necessary.
Nearly 100 Haitian nationals were left without a home over their heads after Monday's demolition. Minister Sweeting acknowledges that there had been many complaints after the area became a hub of commerce, with many individuals reportedly without licenses operating businesses.
That was dealt with on Monday. The task force will continue their movement through areas that they deem necessary and areas that were built without proper building codes and building permits. We're also headed to the islands of Abaco and Eleuthera to clean up two areas that were demolished over a year ago. You notice that some fires are happening in those areas, so we'll head there to clean up those demolished sites.
Fire burned in the former Gaza shanty town for 5 days before officials were able to contain it.
What seems to happen is persons go into this area and light fires. So we're going to clean up all of the debris that was left to ensure that it isn't prone to fires as it's been over the past few weeks.
On New Providence, he revealed several areas, including the well fields, have been identified for demolition next, where more than 30 notices were served. To date, he says more than 550 structures have been demolished countrywide. For the Bahamas Tonight, I'm Cleopatra Murphy.
Thanks, Cleo. Well, only a matter of time before 13 Haitian nationals are deported. This after the group appeared before a magistrate on a number of immigration offenses. 11 of them were convicted for overstaying and 2 for illegal landing. They all pleaded guilty and were fined between $300 and $3,000 and sentenced from 3 months to 1.5 years at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services. The court also ordered that the group be deported once fines are paid or sentences completed. Leadership taking center stage for the Urban Renewal Authority this week as executives and employees assembled at the Bahamas Communications and Public Officers Union Hall for the start of a new era of transformational leadership. Amaya Moss tells us more.
Hosting a 2-day initiative dubbed Transformational Leadership in Action, the ministry is bringing together managers and senior officers from across the Bahamas and the wider West Indies. Through workshops and interactive sessions, participants are being trained in confidentiality, effective communication, ethical responsibility, and the delicate art of leading with empathy. Minister of Urban Renewal and Housing, the Honorable Keith Bell, underscores that those entrusted with authority must never lose sight of human lives behind every decision and directive.
We want to ensure that we arm our center managers, our police officers, and everyone who work in urban renewal and housing with the necessary tools to enhance their character, their style, their appearance, everything. And this is what the workshop is really doing today.
Minister of State for Social Services and Urban Development, the Honorable Lisa Ramming, stressed that communities deserve leaders who listen, protect sensitive information, and operate with authenticity at every level.
You must be concerned about those that you lead, and you must do so with humanity, because everyone are facing the vicissitudes of life in different dimensions. And as leaders, we must be cognizant of this, and we must be aware of it. And we must also be able to resolve some of the issues that the people we lead face.
Participants enrolled in the program described the experience as eye-opening but critical.
Leadership is not just you alone. It's a part of the whole community. You have to be able to walk it, show it, and display it.
Officials say this two-day initiative serves as a stark reminder that when leadership is anchored in accountability and led with heart, it doesn't just shape policy, it shapes people. Reporting for the Bahamas Tonight from BCPOU's Hall, I'm Amaya Moss.
Thanks, Amaya. Well, under the open sky at Pompey Square, believers and passers-by assembled to observe Ash Wednesday, a sacred day on the Christian calendar marking the beginning of Lent. Members of the clergy offering prayer, scripture, and the symbolic marking of ashes upon foreheads as a reminder of humility, repentance, and renewal. Dean of Nassau and Christ Church Cathedral Rector, the Very Reverend Dwight Roll, explained that Ash Wednesday is more than a tradition. It's a call to turn inward, reflect deeply, and draw closer to God during the 40-day Lenten journey.
During the Lenten season, we find that be they regular worshipers or not, people find this time of any other time in the year to give up something, to make a greater sacrifice, whether it be giving up food, whether it be praying more, studying the scriptures more, etc. But we begin our journey to Easter on this day, and we would notice that we symbolically mark the penitent on the forehead with the sign of ashes. And it is an ancient custom. And of course, it reminds us of our mortality, that we are dust, and of course it reminds us of who we are, that we will return to God, and we must return back to from whence we come.
Don't you move. Amajal Knowles has a look at what's coming up in sports.
Day 2 of the Hugh Campbell basketball tournament in the books. Details of that story and more coming up in sports.
Let's make this moment last forever. Let's start a family together, with a house, a car, and kids. Oh, I love the way we live. I got it covered. BAF has got me covered. So live your life. BAF for life. So live your life. BAF for life. So live your life. BAF for life. BAF has got you covered.
What does disability look like? In a busy airport terminal, at the check-in counter, at security checkpoints, or even in baggage claim? Passengers with hidden disabilities often go unnoticed. Globally, 1 in 7 persons have some form of a disability. 80% of those disabilities are non-visible. In an airport environment, workers are often unaware of hidden physical, mental, or neurological disabilities that some passengers live with. This can lead to frustration and a less than ideal travel experience. So, how do we make the invisible more visible? At LPIA, we've implemented the Sunflower Lanyard program. The lanyards are visual cues for airport workers to immediately identify passengers who might need additional assistance. NAD is teaming up with the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities and key stakeholders at LPIA to launch the internationally recognized initiative. We're joining more than 180 airports in 26 countries already in the program. NAD is the first organization in the Bahamas to recognize the Sunflower Initiative. It's a way to show our continued commitment to making LPIA a safe, welcoming, and inclusive airport for all. Passengers needing to secure a free sunflower lanyard can email sunflower@nas.bs or call 1242-397-8600. For more information, visit www.nassauLPIA.com.
Welcome to your Wednesday Sports Check, everyone. I'm Amajal Knowles here at the ZNS Total Sports Desk, and it was Upset Tuesday at the A.F. Adderley Gymnasium last night, day 2 of the Hugh Campbell basketball tournament. Let's take a look at the highlights. Game 1 featuring a clash between the International School of Business, Entrepreneurship, and Technology and BAI's perennial powerhouse, the Jordan Prince William Falcons. This one would go down to the wire. The Dirty Birds in transition, Clashawn Newton with the pretty Euro step around the defender for 2 of his 10 points. Falcons out on the break again. Elijah Pierre with a tough finish through contact. He would finish with 11 on the night. Prince Will would lead by as much as 8, but Isbet would come storming back. Joshua Burrows navigating his way through the defense with a hoop in the harm. He had 14. Closing moments, Isbet guard Jared Coakley saying, "Too small, get off me," bank shot off the glass. He finished with 14 as well. Isbet, in their first ever Hugh Campbell game, gets their first ever Hugh Campbell win, 47-46.
My team is going with a game, but we playing a little sloppy. We could polish up in practice, but overall, we did well for our first game. It is a historic moment for Isbet, our first time at Hugh Campbell, our first win. Hopefully many more to come, and then we just keep going and keep winning.
Game 2, fresh of a GSSA championship appearance, the Armbelly Pacers hoping to make some noise in this year's tournament, but standing in their way would be a very game Westminster Diplomats squad. This would be another wire-to-wire contest. Diplomats out and running. Michael John Pierre with the tough layup. He had a side-high 11 points. On the other end, the Pacers crashing the glass. William Ingram Ward with the putback. He had 12 points and 7 rebounds. Armed big men doing the dirty work on the inside yet again. Woodson Anton cleaning the glass and going back up for 2. Diplomats, though, not going down without a fight. John Pierre with another tough 2, and perhaps the prettiest 2 points on the night. Westminster in transition guard Jaheim Ambrister goes up and under the basket with this acrobatic finish for 2 of his 10 points, and someone cue up the Dipset anthem. The Diplomats take down the Pacers 33-31. Game 3 on the other side of that GSSA championship bracket, the always dangerous C.I. Gibson Rattlers facing the first Family Island squad to hit the hardwood, Patrick J. Bethel out of Abaco. First quarter would look like the mighty Marlins would be able to hang around. Tyshawn Stewart with the triple here. He had 9 on the night, all of his points from behind the arc. After 1, they would only trail by 4, 13-9, but the Rattlers, though, in the second would pick things up. Connecting on a triple of his own would be Darius Hanna. He had 5 of them on the night. He finished with a game-high 19 points. The Rattlers would go on a 51-18 run from that point and cruise to the 74-34 win. And finally, in the nightcap, returning to the sideline for the first time in several games would be Danico Bulls and his Anatole Rogers Timberwolves taking on the BAISS champs and the St. John's College Giants. Interesting note here, as SJC playing without guards Yalford Gibson and Kimani Bowe. But to the game, Dinagio Fowler out in transition with the easy layup. He had 12 on the night. Giants out on the break. Demarion Ellis with a tough finish. Timberwolves cleaning up on the offensive glass. Israel White with 2 of his 8 points. SJC off the inbound. Nice play call. Taden Sands, he would finish with the layup for 2 of his 8 points. Akai Ellis, he would drive and find Sands on the inside yet again. This one wouldn't be the prettiest of games, but the Timberwolves would make enough clutch plays down the stretch to walk away with the 36-29 win.
First off, definitely thank God for the victory, as usual. But like you said, it was a scrappy win, and some games play that. Not every game you're going to execute as you plan, as you hope to. But nonetheless, thank God for the victory. Getting the first one in the book to feel really, really good. And so we just got to go back to the drawing board and continue to tighten up on some things. But I think we'll be pretty good going into the tournament. But like I said, we definitely thank God for the victory.
It was an injunction, I think, that came in right before the game that allowed you to coach after missing the past several games. So on a personal level, just tell us how does it feel to be back on the sideline?
It feels really, really good. It feels really, really good. I'm truly appreciative of God, for just affording me this opportunity to be able to mentor these young men, to be a part of their lives. Like I said, it was definitely sidelined for a few games here and there, and it kind of pulled the team morale down a little bit, but nonetheless, the kids, they were resilient to complete the rest of the GSSA season, and like I said, we're back here, we're back in full effect. We're going to make a valiant effort here in this year's Hugh Campbell basketball tournament.
Hugh Campbell action continuing tonight at the AF Adderley Gymnasium. Scores and highlights from day 3 in tomorrow's Sportscast. And in NBA news, Bahamian NBA star DeAndre Ayton was questioned and released as he departed the Lyndon Pindling International Airport on Tuesday after a small quantity of marijuana was found in the bag of one of his associates. According to a statement from Ayton's lawyer, DeVard Francis, he says the investigators saw the actual very small amount of marijuana in his associate's bag. They went through their investigations, and the Lakers center was ultimately released expeditiously. Ayton, of course, a center with the Los Angeles Lakers, was home on the break as the NBA hosted its All-Star Weekend in L.A. The former #1 draft pick signed a 2-year deal to join the Lakers last summer after stints with the Phoenix Suns and Portland Trailblazers. That's all the time we have for you for sports on this Wednesday. I'm Amajal Knowles, signing out until tomorrow.
The Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting is partnering with the Bahamas Christian Council to help build stronger Bahamian families.
I believe that our ultimate experience in living begins with God and family.
Our purpose is to facilitate, guide, inspire, and equip you to have a better life.
And a strong family foundation begins with each of us trying to become better individuals. Let's unite
for a stronger Bahamas.
This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting, the heartbeat of the nation, leading Bahamians from dependency to self-sufficiency to economic empowerment.
You always see man, the one and only, and I want you all to tune into Entertainment Fridays on Access Now every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Who knows? Your favorite Bahamian artist might end up showing their face. But you gotta watch to find out.
And it's time now for a weather check with Chief Meteorologist Basil Dean. Good evening, Basil.
Good evening, LaDawn. High pressure beginning to weaken, and that will pave the way for the arrival of a frontal system late Sunday night, and that will usher in some chilly temperatures the early part of next week. And your temperatures around the islands, Marshall, Barbacoa at 73. Also in Greenville, Key, Freeport, Grand Bahamas, 73 degrees as well as we take you a little further south. The Berry Islands, 75. Alistown, Bimini, 74. Also in Harbor Island. Rock Island, Eleuthera, 76. Over in Artistown, Cat Island, 77. Black Point, Exuma, Kemp Space, Orlando, 76. In Fresh Creek, Central Andros, they have a temp of 75. San Salvador, Rumkey, and Georgetown, Exuma, all at 77. Some more 77s showing up in Ragged Island, Clarence Island, Island, and Crooked Island. Betsy Bay, Maguana, 78. Ackland, 78. Matthew, Nagua, 79. And the Turks and Caicos Islands at 78 degrees. Your forecast tonight, we're looking at clear to partly cloudy skies, low temperature around 69 degrees. And tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high of 80 degrees. Your extended weather forecast for the next 7 days. Beautiful weather right through the weekend, but that frontal system comes in on Sunday night late, and you'll see temperatures rising just ahead of that frontal system. Behind that, temperatures going to sink into the low 60s. We'll even pick up some 50s as the early part of next week unfolds. Go on.
Thanks a lot, Basil. Well, that does it for the Bahamas tonight at 11. From all of us here at ZNS, I'm LaDawn Davis. Have a great evening, everyone.
At Harold One, I'm Ted Jervis, and this is ZNS.
This is the third refrigerator I had to fix this week.
Oh, you could probably fix it blindfolded.
Nah, I tried that on the second one. All I got was a nasty shock.